Binge the full week of The Ray Taylor Show ad-free over at inspireddisorder.com/plus.
This is The Ray Taylor Show.
Rayz Dayz, episode 116. This is the show where I recap my week, as it has been a pretty miserable week just for the country in general. I talked about these things on Swipe Up. I won't get into all of it again in this episode, but just to provide some context of when I'm recording this, a few days ago, Roe versus Wade was overturned. A day or two before that, there was another Supreme Court thing about concealed carry in New York. Just a lot of things. Justice Thomas wanting to go after contraception, same-sex marriage, same-sex relationships. Just like a lot of freedoms are being taken away in this country, despite the fact that I'm personally not going to be affected as a straight white man. Doesn't necessarily make me happy or any, like, I care and it sucks. And let's just say America makes it very difficult to be sober, and definitely tapped into some alcohol the past couple days, and just the idea of what I'm doing with my life seems very meaningless. Just the idea that people would even be in a position to want to purchase artwork of mine. I guess doing this show as a little escapism for people, reviewing movies and things like that. I guess there's some utility there on some level, but it's very weird to kind of sit back and contextualize the things that I'm doing with my life and how little to no effect that has on providing anything good for the rest of the world. It's still what I'm doing. The other option would be to go work for somebody else, and that doesn't seem like an enticing proposition as well. So, hopefully I will be able to find a way to use what I do in a positive way to at least put momentum behind some good movements that are happening. I don't know. My entire week, I've been extremely distracted. I feel like I've been in a manic state this past week, maybe the past couple weeks. I don't know, and not the kind of mania where I'm like inspired and super motivated and getting a bunch of stuff done. Because now what I do, like, I'll notice how I'm acting. And for me, this past week has been extremely distracted. I cannot focus on anything. It has been so difficult, like watching movies. Like, it'll take me like 4 hours to watch a 2-hour-long movie because I'm constantly being distracted by my phone. I can't sit down. I'm constantly getting up. I'm constantly doing things. I just cannot focus on anything. And it's been like an insane week to try and get things done. And, whenever I'm in, like, I'm just constantly like, is this part of being bipolar? Is this part of mania? This seems like this could be part of mania. I kind of feel like I might be manic right now. And, it's being very distracted is part of, is a symptom of mania or a sign of it. And so it kind of, I guess, confirmed my assumptions. So I don't know how scientifically accurate it is that I'm self-diagnosing my mental issues, but definitely have not been able to concentrate on anything, But it's been hot and humid, so I've kind of just been in my cave, in my place, curtains drawn, kept it dark, watching a lot of movies, watching a lot of Bong Joon-ho movies, which is an amazing. I'm going to be doing my top 5 of his, but it's not a great combination. I've been watching a lot of foreign films, which requires a lot of reading, a lot of paying attention. Thankfully, with streaming and digital stuff, pausing and rewinding is pretty effortless. So I was able to get through it. Obviously, got to watch a bunch of great movies that I hadn't seen or haven't seen in a while. So that's a nice kind of additive to the whole thing. But definitely very distracted, which, interesting to see that that's part of being manic. And now a quick word from our sponsor. Now you can wear the many faces. Original art by Ray Taylor. Select pieces from the ongoing series of abstract ink paintings. All products made with high quality materials, made right here in the USA. Go to inspireddisorder.com/TMF merch to browse the entire collection and save yourself an extra 10% when you check out by using coupon code RTSTMF. So once again, go to inspireddisorder.com/TMF merch and save 10% when you use coupon code RTSTMF. And now, back to our show. I also was starting to get and have gotten in my life, like I remember when I was a kid, a specific moment, when I was a kid, I was over at some kid's house. I was always being babysit. I was always staying at somebody else's house. I was always with somebody else. It's any opportunity my mom got to pawn me off on somebody, I spent a lot of time at other people's places. I remember waking up at this kid's house, and like his parents didn't give a shit. Like I don't remember his parents really being there, and he was younger than me, and I was probably like maybe I don't know, like somewhere between 7 and 10, maybe even younger than that, probably around 7, let's say. And I remember sitting on the couch at this kid's place and like hearing it like was a muted or like a muffled, like people arguing. Basically audio hallucinations. And it felt like this muffled murmuring of people arguing in the back, almost like an echo of people arguing. And I don't remember people arguing. Maybe it was like from the night before. I just kind of still was hearing it. But then like I've throughout my life, it's pretty rare, but there's been times where I've experienced that, where it sounds like, I mean, I don't think it's people, like it doesn't sound like people are yelling in the next room, right? Like I know it's in my head, but to describe it sounds like a muffled version of an echo of people yelling. And I can't like make out what they say, but it's just like, it has that feeling to it. And I got a little bit of that this week. And that's another thing I looked up, and that's usually part of like extreme mania, or other things, because it's a detachment. Hallucinating of any kind is kind of a major thing. How I kind of like describe it, it's almost like normal life feels like you're in like a lazy river or whatever, right? And you're just kind of floating along. And then in those moments where it sounds like I'm hearing things, it's like I'm standing up and the water's rushing past me, right? Like if I were to describe the feeling of it, what that audible feeling is like, that's what it feels like. It feels like I am standing still and these are like audio remnances that are passing through. I don't know what that means. Just how I would describe it. But I was kind of getting that. And like some of it I think might be like just in white noise, you can kind of hear things, And I've been running the air conditioner pretty much nonstop. It's been over 100 degrees every day. So it could be part of that it's like just that constant white noise of the air conditioner running can trigger audio hallucinations. I don't know. Just throwing out ideas and theories. And that's like a memory that I had. And it's like it's something that I almost tried to tap into as a kid. To try and tap into those sounds. Try to make it happen. And it's been a long time. I mean, it's something that definitely I had a lot more experience as a kid. Maybe that's because there was a lot more trauma in my life as a kid. Possibly. I don't know. But got a taste of it. Like, noticed it happening. I mean, it happens every once in a while. I can't remember the last time it happened. It's probably been a year or 2 years, 3 years. It's been a few years. I don't know. But it does happen every once in a while. I'll notice it, and I'll be aware of it. But it's not like a situation where I think I hear something, and it's like, oh... Like, I don't look outside expecting to see people arguing outside, even though that's kind of what it sounds like. Like, I know it's in my head. But if I were to describe it, it sounds like a muffled arguing. Like, almost like if you had, like if if the volume on a TV where people were arguing was turned way down to where you can just barely hear the audio of the TV. Like, just barely can hear it. That's kind of what it's like. So I don't know. And I've also been talking to myself a lot, which is also, I mean, I'm an only child. That's kind of like common. That's not, I looked that up. It's not really a sign of anything. But I don't know. I'm always talking to myself. Usually, sometimes out loud. Usually just in my head. A lot of talking to myself in my head, but I think that's more common of anything. But it's been just one of the added distractions in my week. Constantly like looking at my phone, doom scrolling on my phone, checking at different accounts and all this. Just like if my task at hand is to watch a movie, I will think and do everything else. Been a very difficult week in that sense. Join Inspired Disorder Plus today. Head on over to inspireddisorder.com/plus to join. Membership includes members-only discounts and deals. You get access to the Ray Taylor Show completely ad-free, as well as bonus episodes. You get access to the complete live painting archive. You also get access to every single podcast ever produced by Inspired Disorder, hosted by Ray Taylor. You get access to Ray Taylor's personal blog, as well as the opportunity to ask me any questions. So if you want to start a podcast, you're into art, ask me anything. And so many more things are being added every day to Inspired Disorder Plus. So sign up today, become a member, head on over to inspireddisorder.com/plus. and become an Inspired Disorder Plus member today. And because of everything, I've been, not that I have the means, but if the opportunity were to present itself to be able to leave this garbage heap, this flaming pile of garbage that is America, I've kind of started, I've been watching a lot of Korean cinema, so I was like, ooh, what would it be like to go to Korea? And then I look and in a lot of ways, Korea has the same issues with capitalism that we do, except for they have 60 to 80 hour work weeks. It's maybe not the same racial issues and religious extremism, but as far as the capitalism and how you're expected to work and things like that, I don't know. Something I'd like to live there, but it doesn't seem like a culture that vibes with me. Maybe that kind of work culture. Debt is huge. It's a tough thing. It's a tough thing. But Then also Mexico, super low cost of living, cheap health care, more tropical, way more laid back. So there's definitely that option, and it's a lot closer. So, the reality of it is, if I were to leave, Canada and Mexico are like the easiest ones, right? Because they're borders. Canada, the weather, even though I like cold weather, I don't know. Universal health care is great, sure. People nice, sure. They still got Trumpers up there, which is insane. But they got that same kind of... it's hard. Any kind of country that has white people in it, America, Canada, UK, Australia, you're going to still have the racism and the crazy Trump-like people. So none of those things, those are all reasons why I want to leave America. So to go to another country that still has that type of stuff, even though there's other benefits, those are still strikes against it. And then also weather. Whereas, laid back, if I could somehow start bringing in some kind of like regular income, like my YouTube videos start popping off or whatever, somebody decides to start collecting my artwork, I don't know, whatever it is, I think Mexico might be. And I like Spanish, the language. I used to know it a little bit, high school. It seems like it makes the most sense. But we'll see. It's not like I have the means. It's not like but it's, planting seeds, I guess. But yeah, just kind of also, in addition to just being distracted, just kind of taking a step back and looking at what I'm doing and how useless it really seems while America is just crumbling apart in slow motion. It's just, what's the point? What's the point of a lot of this stuff? I don't know. It just seems like it's going to get worse. Everything I hear, it's going to get worse before it gets better. And it's getting worse it seems like it's picking up speed. Like the momentum of worse is approaching at a much faster velocity. Where rights are just going to be stripped away at a more higher rate. Living in California, yeah, that's a little bit of protection for sure, but even the reality of that is that there's things that they're not doing. Like we had a potential for universal health care in California. A Democratic supermajority got shot down immediately. Recently, a bill to get rid of private prisons, shot down. Like, there's still all of the same problems. It's just a little bit more social protection. A little bit. I don't know. So anyway, that's been my chaotic, stressful, unproductive week. I've been manic, so not super... depressed with the news, but I haven't been depressed. I've been pretty out there crazy. I go look at my Twitter account. You can kind of gauge my mental status by what I tweet and how often I tweet. And let me just tell you, there was a lot of tweeting going on. I got very drunk and tweeted a fuck ton. Because I just don't give a fuck anymore. I don't care. Part of it with mania is not giving a fuck and just like flame throwing everything. So, anyway, hope everybody else has been having a good week, as good as you can, I suppose. By the time this episode comes out, who knows what other rights have been taken away? Who knows? Maybe there's been another Kyle Rittenhouse going out and murdering protesters, because that's definitely what the pro-life people love. They love to celebrate that kind of hate, that kind of murder. But whatever. I hope whoever's watching this or listening to this, I hope you are doing okay. I hope you are surviving and living and taking another step to another day. So, yeah.
New episodes of The Ray Taylor Show come out every single day. Subscribe on YouTube and everywhere our podcasts are found. Binge the full week over at inspireddisorder.com/plus. Buy Ray Taylor Show merch over at inspireddisorder.com. And follow the show on Instagram at Ray Taylor Show. Have a wonderful day, everybody. Peace out!
Today is the day where you wake up and you realize that everything that you've been dreaming about, everything that you've been wanting, every goal and wish and hope that you've ever had can become real. Dreams can come true. What you manifest in your mind, you can bring to reality.